How's it going, everyone? I am back with another video. This is going to be my Week 15 predictions video, where I just go through all the Week 15 games that are going to be taking place and pick a winner and break down my thought process as to how I think the game's going to go. So, doing pretty solid, I would say, this season with my picks. 140, 69, nice, of course. uh, 90 I'm in the 91 percentile, so doing pretty solid there. Started off kind of shaky this year, but have been doing pretty solid lately. Didn't really have a great week last week, but still doing pretty solid. I got the Rams game, or the yeah, I got the Rams right over the 49ers in the Thursday game, which was certainly a game. Yeah, I that was certainly a game. But diving into the Sunday games here. Chiefs Browns. This is actually, I am very intrigued as to how this game is going to play out. I'm picking the Chiefs in this game. I mean, I really can't pick the Browns. Of course, I'll be pulling for the Browns because I hate the Chiefs. And I think the Browns, I would not at all be surprised if the Browns win this game. I just cannot pick them to win. I mean, the Chiefs are, even though I think they're the worst 12-1 team in the existence of sports, with certainly in NFL history, at least in my opinion. They're still obviously the far better team than the Browns this year. I mean, the Browns, even though they've been playing better since Winston took over, they're still not a great team. Um, yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are just better still. Their offense better, defense better, coaching's been better. But yeah, like I said, I'm intrigued as to how this game plays out. If the Browns win, I certainly think it'll be close within a one-score game and go right down to the wire. I could either see the Chiefs winning this game by a pretty decent margin, maybe up to even like 17, I could see. But I'm going to predict kind of a close win for the Chiefs. I think that the how do I phrase it? The deciding point of this game, big factor in this game, is going to be the Chiefs' defense. I think the Chiefs' defense has kind of been shaky the past couple weeks. I think the Chiefs' defense is going to have a really good performance. Winston, obviously, he's prone to turnovers. I think that's exactly what's going to happen and what's going to kill the Browns in this game. I think the Chiefs' defense is probably going to force Winston into some bad decisions, probably turn over a couple times, get some pressure on Winston, make a couple bad throws. And even if they don't do that, I think the Chiefs defense in general is just going to have a really solid game covering the Browns receivers, stopping the run game from the Browns and Chubb and Ford. So I just kind of, my gut's kind of telling me the Chiefs defense has a solid performance. I could see the Chiefs offense like just having a really efficient game, or I could see it kind of having a game like it has most of the season where they look good one drive, then they have a series where they stall out, a couple series where they stall out, and yeah, they just don't look great, and it's like, what's going on? I could see, one of those games in the Chiefs offense. So yeah, I think the Chiefs defense is gonna have a good performance. I think their offense, I'm gonna say it's just kind of plays like it has all year, kind of up and down. I don't think they'll score a bunch of points, but I think they'll be able to move the ball fairly efficiently. Browns offense, I could see it having a really good game. As I mentioned, the Chiefs defense has kind of been shaky the past couple weeks, but I also think the Chiefs defense is going to have a really good game. So I don't think the Browns offense is going to have a great game in this one, but I don't think there's going to be an in between. Honestly, I think the Browns offense is either going to go off in this game or it's going to kind of just put up a shitter. I honestly don't think there's a I mean, there is, but I don't think, in my mind, my gut's telling me there's going to be a scenario in between those two. I think it's either go off or have a shitter of a performance. I think it's kind of have a shitty performance, unfortunately. The Browns defense, I think, is going to be what keeps this game fairly close. I think the Browns defense will have a solid game for some stops. Um, yeah, so this game, I could see the Chiefs either winning comfortably, winning marginally, or the Browns winning a close game. If the Browns do win this game, look out for the Chiefs to maybe go into the postseason on a cold streak because the Chiefs play the Texans next week. They should win that game, but that they very well could lose that. I think the Chiefs are going to lose to the Steelers on Christmas, and I also think they're going to lose to the Broncos week 18. So if they lose this game, and I'll just give them the win against the Texans, and they lose to the Steelers and Broncos, that's going to be three out of your last four games you've lost going into postseason. So look out for that for the Chiefs if they lose this game. But yeah, Winston, I could also see him putting up a classic Jameis stat line. He throws for a bunch of yards, has a bunch of completions, bunch of attempts, has a couple touchdowns, also has a couple picks. I definitely could see that. But yeah, I'm gonna pick the Chiefs in this game. I think they'll win a close one. I'll say Chiefs win. I'll say, what do I want to say? I'm just gonna say 17, but I think that's a bit too low. I'll say Chiefs win 20. Hmm. I'll say 23 to. I'll say 23-16 Chiefs in this one. I feel like the score will roughly be around somewhere in that range. I'll say 23-16 Chiefs. Okay, my mouse just geez, my mouse just spazzed out for a second there. Bengals Titans. I'm gonna pick the Bengals in this game. What is wrong with my mouse here? I'm gonna pick the Bengals in this game. The Titans are just, oh boy. I mean, losing to the Mac Jones Jaguars when you put up 6 points, you lost. Your defense pitched a shutout for 3 quarters, and you lost the game. That's a problem usually, especially when it's a Jaguars team that's horrible this year, banged up to hell with injuries, and the Titans are dealing with some injuries too. But the Jags also have Mac Jones, and they lost that game. And yes, it's a division game, but still yeah, the Titans, ever since that Texans game, it looks like they might have gotten hot a bit, and then the Commanders just absolutely blew them off the field that week, a couple weeks ago, and then they just put up an absolute shitter against the Jags. Bengals, even though, I mean, the Bengals, even though their season's kind of not gone to hell, but obviously they're not where they want to be at 5-8. The Bengals been the better team this year. I mean, their offense, there's literally no argument that the Titans' offense has been better than the Bengals. However, the Titans' defense has been better than the Bengals, far better. So the good thing for the Bengals is their defense is playing a bad offense with Will Levis and company. So their defense has a chance for a solid game in this one. I think the Bengals defense will have a solid performance in this game. I think the Bengals offense will have a good game too. I could see it, going off, scoring 30 plus, but I think the Titans defense will be able to hold it to, I feel like 24 to 27, somewhere in that range I feel pretty comfortable with that range there for the Bengals. So yeah, I think the Bengals offense will have a good game in this one. I think their defense is a good game. Titans offense, I mentioned, I think the Titans offense is going to I guess I could see it just randomly having a good game where it just kind of torches the Bengals defense because the Bengals defense has been so bad. But I think the Titans, they'll probably have a couple of drives where they look good. Maybe their opening drive, they're usually good at it. I feel like moves down the field, but I feel like the Titans are. I just think the offense going to have a rough showing in this one. I think their defense, I mentioned, will be able to keep the game relatively close. But I feel pretty confident with the Bengals in this game. The Titans pull off the upset. I think it's going to be just because their defense balls out, and the Titans offense is going to have to certainly score a couple touchdowns, not settle for field goals. But I'm going to say the Bengals win this game. I'll say, I'll say 20. Kind of want to say 24, but God. I'll say 27 to yeah, I'll say 27-14 Bengals take this one. Oh my God, my mouse again. What is wrong? Do I need a new mouse? My God. So also I like to try to go through scenarios of why each team can, win their prospective matchups. Browns, I think I kind of talked about. I think the Browns win. It's just going to be because their offense goes off. I don't even remember I said this or not, but I just randomly thought about it. At the Browns win, I think it's going to be because their offense maybe not necessarily goes off, but just limits the turnovers, is able to score some touchdowns, not settle for field goals, and their defense just has a pretty solid performance, kind of similar to the Titans. Um, Commanders Saints. Yeah, this will be. This does have the potential to be interesting. Jake Haener is going to be starting for the. I was going to obviously pick the Commanders regardless of even if Derek Carr didn't get hurt last week, but actually it would have been probably a lot more interesting. But there's certainly at least a little more interesting. But it probably a lot more interesting if Derek Carr was healthy. But I'm definitely picking the Commanders in this game. The Commanders were on a losing streak, and their offense did not look good during that losing streak. And it's like, all right, well, this is kind of the Commanders that we expected going into the year, and then they just blew the absolute doors off the Titans. And again, the Titans aren't, of course, the greatest of teams, but still, they were coming off a win against the Texans. They were playing solid ball, and the Commanders just blew the doors off them. And now they're playing a Saints team that has actually been playing a lot better under Darren Rizzi, but at the same time, they just struggled to they had to get a blocked field goal to avoid overtime against the Giants, the Drew Lock led Giants, and just lost their starting quarterback for the year. And you get Jake Haener in there. So that's probably going to be an issue for the Saints. The Commanders are just the better team. I don't want to overthink this one too much. I could see the Saints defense having a solid game, keeping it close, but I think the Commanders offense is a good game. But at the same time, I think the Saints defense will. I don't think it's going to be a great game, and I think at the same time it's going to be able to stop them. The Commanders offense, a couple drives, keep the game relatively close. If I could either see the Commanders just blowing the doors off the Saints, or it could be relatively close. I think it'll be within two scores is the final score. But yeah, Commanders defense, I think we'll have a really solid performance in this one. I think the Commanders defense really has a solid game. The Saints offense, I think, is going to have a rough game. I do not have too many high hopes for the Saints offense this game, but I mentioned I think their defense could keep it relatively close. Yeah, I just think this is going to be an ugly game for the Saints, especially offensively. I'm going to say the Commanders win this game. I'll say 20. I'll say 23 to. Uh, I'll say 23-10. Kind of want to up the Commanders from 23 though. Oh, I hate final score projections. I'll say Commanders win. What the hell? I'll say 23-10 Commanders. If the Saints win, I think it's going to be because their defense, I think, is just going to have to ball out, and their offense is just going to have a randomly good, like shockingly, not maybe not shockingly, but surprisingly good performance. Okay. I've been having just like a nice sip of. I try not to drink soda because it's like so horrible for you. So I've been drinking the hell are these called? The sparkling ice drinks. It's kind of like flavored water. The polar waters, kiwi strawberry. Oh my God, these things are just absolutely. Whew, I love these things. They're so good. Okay, but anyway, Ravens Giants. Oh boy, oh boy. Uh, if the Giants somehow win this game, I would be. I just I really cannot see a logical reason as to why the Giants can win this game. I would be beyond shocked if the Giants won this game. As a matter of fact, if this game is even close, I would be shocked. I I just really do not see why the Giants can win this game. If the Giants somehow win this game, it's just going to have to be the most random win ever where their offense just. I could see their defense actually having a solid. If they win, I certainly think it's going to be because their defense just has a really solid performance, and their offense just randomly looks competent and just has a great showing, I guess. Really don't see that though. I could not be more confident in the Ravens in this game. And see, and I say this and watch the Giants win. I'm going to seem like a friggin' idiot, but I could not be more confident with the Ravens in this game. I mean, the Ravens have been a bit shaky this year. They've had issues this year that have not really presented themselves to the level they are this season that they have the past couple seasons. But the Ravens are still one of the better teams in the league, even though their record's kind of hovering around like mid territory. I certainly don't think the Ravens are mid, but the Ravens defense has actually been picking it up the past couple weeks. Ever since that Steelers game, I feel like it's played better. The Eagles game, it kept them in it for a while. Well, not that they're offense moving the ball that game, just Tucker missing the kicks and things like that, kept stalling them out. But the Ravens defense has been playing better. Their offense has been good all year. It's had a couple kind of a couple games where I was gonna say head scratching games, but games where it doesn't put up a bunch of points. It moves the ball efficiently, but doesn't put up the amount of points that they trying to figure out how to word it here. It does so yeah, they move the ball efficiently, but they should put up more points based on how well they're moving the ball. I guess they put up less points than they should. I guess. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, this game, I think the Ravens are just going to absolutely blow the doors off the Giants. I think the Ravens offense is going to go off, score a bunch of points. I think the Ravens defense is also going to go off. I was going to say score a bunch of points, but I guess not allow many points. Yeah, I just think Derrick Henry is going to be an issue. I think Lamar is going to be an issue. The passing is going to be an issue for the Giants. I think the Ravens defense is going to have a really solid performance in this one. Giants offense, I think, is going to be a disaster in this game, and their defense, I think, will also have a pretty rough game. There is a scenario I see where the Giants offense could take advantage of the Ravens' vulnerable defense, maybe put together a couple drives where they look pretty solid. And it's like, okay, like Ravens, what the hell are we doing here? And I also could see the Giants' defense maybe putting together a couple drives to get. Maybe I actually overall could see the Giants' defense having a surprisingly good game. It's kind of capable of doing that. We've seen throughout the year, but I just feel very confident with the Ravens in this game. I really, again, would be absolutely shocked if the Giants won. I mean, 99% of people in my league have picked the Ravens. I'm honestly surprised it's not 100%. But the 1% has to be Giants fans. But I think Giants fans probably want their team to lose, get the first overall pick. I know I have a friend that's a Giants fan, and he wants his team to tank to get the first pick. Shout out Dylan if you're watching this video. But yeah, I mean, I just would be shocked if you have Ravens players in the fantasy playoffs, specifically Lamar and Henry, you're probably getting a shitload of points out of them from this game. So yeah, I'm gonna say the Ravens win this game. I'll say 27. The only thing I could maybe the Ravens are up a bunch late. They were a big late and they kind of take their foot off the gas, play prevent defense. Giants get some points out of that. That's the only reason I can see this game being like relatively close. But yeah, I'm gonna say the Ravens win this game 20. I honestly could see them scoring more than 30 and just going off. But I'll say the Giants defense forces a couple stops. I'll say the Ravens take this game 20. They're also coming off the bye, the Ravens. They even mentioned that. They usually perform very well after the bye with John Harbaugh. I'm not sure their record. I just remember, at least if I am remembering right, they perform very well after the bye under John Harbaugh. So I'm going to say the Ravens win this game, say 27-10. Yeah, we'll say 27-10 Ravens. Hopefully the Giants don't win. I look like an idiot. Okay. God, that drink is good. All right, Cowboys Panthers. Okay, this is actually a very interesting game. Kind of close to a 50-50 split in my league here. You get 58-42, 58 on the Cowboys. I'm going to go with the Cowboys in this game, but I'm very indecisive. I honestly, I had the Cowboys originally, and then I was going to change to the Panthers, but I kept it on the Cowboys. The Cowboys are, I don't know, I'm very indecisive on this game. If this was in Dallas, I'd probably feel a bit better. Then at the same time, the Cowboys been absolutely atrocious at home for most of this year. And so yeah, the Panthers have been playing much better ball the past couple weeks. They've been competing to the wire with some of the best teams in the league, like the Chiefs, Eagles, um, the Bucks. Not the Bucks are one of the best teams in the league. The Bucks are one of the better teams in the league, and they probably should have won that game against the Bucks. They don't fumble the ball at the end there, or they call that Thielen incompletion a touchdown correctly, or at the end of the game when they got that touchdown, the defense probably should have been able to hold the Bucks anyway. But anyway, yeah. So my point is, Panthers have been playing much better football past couple weeks, really ever since that Giants game, and well, actually, I guess the Saints game, but the week before that they won. So yeah, I just lost my talking point. So yeah, Bryce Young's looked a lot better. Jesus, the Thunder just blew the rock. Oh, like 14. That's not complete bullet. But keep getting off track here. Bryce Young's been playing much better ball the past couple weeks. He's not lighting it up statistically, but he's been playing much better ball against the Cowboys defense, which has not been good this year. At home, they've been close the past couple weeks, narrow losses. They're probably due for a win. I could see their offense having a really good performance in this one. I think their offense is going to play similar to how it has the past couple weeks, where it looks good throughout the game, but it doesn't light up the scoreboard completely. The Panthers' defense, I think, will have a solid game, but I think the Panthers' defense will have a solid game. But I don't think it's going to be like an elite game. I think the Cowboys' offense will be able to move the ball throughout points of this game, particularly there are a couple of drives. I also think it's going to be able to get stopped a decent amount of times. Cowboys defense, I think, will have. I think it'll honestly kind of have a solid performance. I could either see it getting the ball moved on it through the entire game, or I could see it just having a really good performance. I mentioned it, but the Cowboys defense has not been good this year. But at the same time, it's been picking up the past couple of weeks. Mike Zimmer, even though he has not been he hasn't been in the NFL since 2021 outside of the season, but it seems like his defenses are kind of I don't know, just getting worse as I guess it's maybe not getting worse, but they've got figured out for the most part by teams, but even with that, he still has some nice, clever blitz schemes and designs. He has some nice defensive plays in general that gives some quarterbacks trouble. And they actually played a half decent, pretty solid game, I guess, against okay, maybe not pretty solid, but not a horrible game against the Bengals offense. The Bengals offense is certainly better than the Panthers offense. So yeah, I don't know. I think the Cowboys could cause pressure on Bryce Young, get a decent amount of sacks, cause some maybe rushed bad throws, getting Bryce Young under pressure. That's honestly kind of why I'm picking the Cowboys. I think their defense is going to be able to. I honestly think both offense. All right, so this is the way I'm looking at it. I think both the Cowboys and Panthers offenses are going to have similar performances. So then, in my mind, what defense do I trust more to get more stops? I'm going to say the Cowboys, even though the Panthers defense has been playing better the past couple weeks. I just think the Cowboys with Bryce Young, who's still only in his second year, but he's inexperienced, hasn't seen a defense quite like Mike Zimmer's, kind of old school. Again, it seems like it's been figured out by some quarterbacks, but old school. Been picking it up lately. Better defense with his blitz schemes, things like that. So yeah, I don't know. Very indecisive on this game because the Panthers are due for a win. I'll kind of be pulling for the Panthers. Plus, the Cowboys, if they lose this game, they're going to be. I don't know if they'll. I think they'll be. I don't know if they'll be officially eliminated for the. I don't think they'll be making it anyway, even if they win out. But just because of the Cowboys, I think they'll. That honestly I know this probably doesn't make too much sense, but because of the Cowboys, if they continue to win, they're going to be in playoff contention, which is going to make the league more interesting, even though people are going to hate it. So I honestly think they're going to get some Cowboy magic to go their way during this game. I don't know. That just sounded so stupid. That was dumb. I don't know why I just said that. I don't know. Hopefully you guys know what I mean, though. But yeah, I this is going to be an interesting game. Very intrigued at this one to see how it goes. Yeah, Panthers can absolutely win. If they do win, I think it's going to be because their defense is able to simply. Uh, I don't know. I feel pretty confident their offense is going to put up 20 something points, but I like in the lower 20s, maybe 17 at the minimum. But I think it's going to be simply because their defense just gets more stops than the Cowboys defense. And okay, now that I say it out loud, I probably sound like yeah, duh, hello statement. But hopefully you guys know what I mean. So yeah, I'm gonna marginally give the Cowboys the edge in this game. I'll say they take this game in a nail biter. I'll say, hmm, I'll say 24 to 20. Kind of want to say 23-20. I'll say 24-20 Cowboys in a nail biter. Ah, that drink is good. Okay, Jets, Jags. I'm gonna pick the Jets in this game. Uh, oh boy, this is gonna be another. Certainly won't be the game of the week unless you're talking about a tank bowl potential game of the week. I mean, 3-10 versus 3-10, dumpster fire versus dumpster fire. But I'm gonna pick the Jets in this game, even though the Jets have been losing most of this year, but they've been losing the past couple weeks. They've been playing better ball the past couple weeks. The Seahawks game, even though they got a bunch to bounce their way in the first quarter with special teams on the Seahawks part, they went right down to the wire with a Seattle team that's gotten hot and is leading their division. And last week against the Dolphins, they had the Dolphins. They were in the lead most of that game. It felt like they were outplaying them, and they kind of blew it. The Jags, even though they're coming off a win, it was a very ugly win. Their offense did not do much, it felt like, and they were, they just credit to them. They just got away with the win against a bad Titans team. Um, Again, a division game. Titans are bad, but they have the potential to be sneaky. But excuse me here. Oh my God, that just ouch. That didn't feel too great. But just like banging my knee on my desk here. That did feel great. But yeah, Titans are not a great team, but had the potential to be sneaky. But Jags just ended up getting the win there, but they did not look very good in doing so. The defense played good, but anyway, my point is the Jets have been playing better ball than the Jags the past couple weeks. I think the Jets are the better team. I think their defense, even though it's been very shaky ever since they fired Saleh and, Jeff Ulbrich. Well, he was the play caller defensively even before Saleh got fired, but ever since Ulbrich has fully taken over the defense, I guess, it's been shaky for the most part. I think the Jets defense actually has a really solid performance in this game. I think it's going to cause issues for Mac Jones. Probably Mac Jones going to throw an interception or two in this game. They're going to get pressure on Mac Jones, I think. But at the same time, I also could see the Jags offense having a good game because the Jets defense has not been very good for the most part. But I think the Jets defense is going to have a good game in this one. I think their offense, I could either see their offense having a really good performance or just doing enough to get the win. I feel fairly good about the Jets winning this game, but I just don't know how I feel about their offense. I'm going to say their offense is a solid game in this one. I think it's going to be able to move the ball efficiently. The Jags defense, again, coming off a really solid performance last week. Again, not against the best competition in the Titans offense, but still pretty solid performance last week. Only allowed 6 points. But yeah, I think the Jags offense, I mentioned it with the Jets defense. I think the Jags offense is going to struggle in this one. probably put together a couple drives where it's able to move the ball, but I think for the most part it's going to struggle. Jags defense, I think, will struggle for. I think I feel like the Jags defense is going to struggle for portions of the game, and then some other portions it'll play good. I don't know. I just feel pretty confident with the Jets in this game. If the Jags win, I definitely think it's possible that the Jags win, even though I feel confident with the Jets. If the Jags win, I think it's going to be because their offense is a good game and their defense has at least like, you know, half a decent game. I don't know. I just think actually if they win, I think it's more likely that their defense will have a better game than their offense. But I could see their offense having a good game because the Jets defense, I keep mentioning, has not been very good. But I just feel pretty solid with the Jets in this game. I think the Jets win this game. Hmm, I'll say 24 to I'll say 24-14 Jets in this one. Dolphins Texans. So this is an interesting game. I am surprised that three-quarters of the people in this league are on the Texans. I figured it'd be a little closer than this, but I'm gonna go with the Texans in this one. I could definitely see the Dolphins winning this game. I don't think it's exactly a coin flip, but I feel like I'm probably like 65% confident in the Texans in this game, that they're gonna win it. The Texans have not been playing good ball lately. They have something has just been off about this team. Honestly, for most of this year, it has felt like so the past couple weeks they've been losing most of their games. They just lost to the yeah the last game was against the Titans 2 weeks or sorry no okay yes they played the Titans then yes okay so they played the Jaguars trying to remember off the top of my head here. So they beat the Jags, but that game was close through for most of it. And then the Texans pulled away, and then they allowed the Jags to come back late in that game. And that was when Trevor Lawrence got hurt on that controversial hit, and they had Mac Jones come in. In the fourth quarter, the Jags were putting together a couple good offensive drives, and they made it a close game. And the Texans nearly blew that game. They ended up being able to run the clock out with Joe Mixon getting the first down, but still, should not have probably been in that situation with the Jaguars. The Dolphins they've actually been, I don't want to say been getting hot because I mean, they won last week, which was kind of an ugly win where it felt like they got outplayed most of the game, were maybe a bit fortunate to win that game. And then they got thoroughly outplayed by the Packers. But they've been playing a lot better since Tua came back, and their defense has kind of been playing a lot better for the most part the past couple weeks. Outside that Packers game, it was kind of a rough performance, but yeah, the defense has been playing pretty solid outside of that performance the past couple weeks. It's had stretches throughout this year where it's looked like fairly, you know, solid, and they've had injuries this year too. The Dolphins defense a decent amount too. But yeah, the Texans coming off a bye. I just think that DeMeco Ryans has his defense ready to play. I think the Texans defense is a solid performance in this game. And I think their offense also is a solid performance. I think that just overall, the Texans as a team plays a really solid, complete game. Offense, defense, I think both play solid games. The Dolphins, I think their offense is. I don't think it's going to have like a miserable game, but I think it's not going to have a great game either. I think they're going to have drives and they move the ball. It's going to be relatively close throughout the game, but I think for the most part, their offense rather is going to have maybe not get shut down, but just be punting a decent amount in this game or just failing to convert on fourth down, things like that. The tech, the not the Texans defense, the Dolphins defense in this one, I think I think the Dolphins defense is going to have a rough performance in this one, but who knows, honestly, because the Texans just been so weird most of this year, especially the past couple weeks. Again, definitely possible the Dolphins win this game. I could see just Tyreek Waddle causing some issues to the Texans defense, maybe getting open deep to hit some big play touchdown, maybe. Definitely think the big play potential could be there for the Dolphins this game. I think the Texans are going to get a decent pass rush on Tua, probably sack him a couple times in this game. I don't know. My gut's just telling me the Texans just clean things up. They look like the team that we expected them to going into the year, and they kind of how they did the first 2 weeks of the year. Well, actually, okay, maybe not that Bears game week two. That they won that game. It was kind of an ugly win with all the penalties and such. But yeah, I just feel fairly decent about the Texans. About three, yeah, exactly three-quarters of people in my league are also on the Texans, so maybe I'm sharing their mindset with this game. Yeah, I don't know. That's what my gut's kind of telling me. I think this game, if the Dolphins win, I definitely think it goes right down to the wire. If they win, I think it's going to be because they get big plays in their offense and their defense is able to just, I don't know, just play a solid game, I guess. Which I definitely think it could happen. I think they could also get pressure on Stroud. That might be key for the Dolphins defense. The Texans offensive line kind of being a mess this year. But so yeah, that'll be the key for the Dolphins to win. If they win, I certainly think it's within one score. The Texans win, I honestly could see them just winning decisively by more than one score, but I'm going to say the Texans win this game fairly close. I'll say the Texans win. I'll say 27 to I'll say 27-20. Texans take this one. Here we go. Colts Broncos. Maybe a little surprised 91% of people in my league are on the Broncos. I'm picking the Broncos, but I figured it'd be a bit closer to the percentage of picks here. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Broncos though. They are at home, coming off. Well, both these teams are actually coming off a bye, but the Broncos defense against the Browns, it did not play good, but it also got two pick sixes at the same time. Uh, I and maybe I think it picked Winston off. All right, now this is bothering me. I gotta look it up. How many picks did Winston throw in this game? Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, three. So two of them were pick sixes. Oh yeah, that's right. His last interception was at the in the end zone at the end there, where it looked like it was going to be a pick six, but Judy chased him down there. But anyway, my point is the Broncos defense outside of that did not play well. They got torched by the Browns offense most of this game. That I'm sure was an emphasis for the Broncos during their bye week. And right after the game, Sean Payton in his post game interview said that the defense, certainly some things to clean up there. You know, offensively too, they didn't have a perfect offensive game, but you know, they had a pretty solid offensive game in that one too. So I think the Broncos defense is, you know, coming off a bye week. They hit a week to look back on them getting torched. So I think the Broncos defense is going to have a solid performance in this one. I do think Shane Steichen's scheme and game planning is going to result in the Colts offense having a fairly decent game too. So I think the Colts offense is going to have a good game, but I think the Broncos defense is also going to have a good game, even though that kind of contradicts itself. I just think both units are going to have good games respectively. I think the Broncos defense, I think it's going to cause issues for Anthony Richardson, though. I think they are going to get a lot of pressure on Richardson, sack him, maybe force him into a pick, but I think Anthony Richardson is going to have his completion issue that has, you know, plagued him his whole NFL career. Well, I guess he's only been in the league, you know, since last year, but his short NFL career, his main issue has been having accuracy issues, completing the ball. I think the Broncos defense is going to capitalize on that. Richardson's going to have a rough game completing the ball in this one. Colts defense, I think, will have a fairly solid performance, but at the same time, again, I think the Broncos offense is going to be able to move the ball through portions of this game, but probably my guess is, I don't know, I think it's going to put up a decent amount of points, but not a bunch. I just think these teams, like overall, kind of have just mixed. I think both defenses play good, and I think both offenses kind of mixed performances. I'm just going the Broncos because they're at home. I think they've been the better team this year, and I honestly trust their defense more than the Colts, and I trust their offense more than the Colts, I think. So that's kind of where my mindset is with this game. If the Colts win this game, though, look out, especially if the Texans lose to the Dolphins, because the Colts have a very favorable schedule to close the year out. I forget exactly who they play. I want to say it's Titans, Giants, and Jags, I want to say. So the Titans, they could lose that game, but they should win. The Giants, they certainly should win. And then the Jags, they should win, but who knows? They always struggle in Jacksonville. So if they win this game, they very realistically could win the next three and finish 10-7. And if the Texans continue to play how they have been, I think the Texans should win the division and they should be fine. But if they lose to the Dolphins, they need to be, you know, in maybe not panic mode, but they need to be in kind of high alert mode that the Colts legitimately could steal that division after trailing the whole year on it. But if the Colts win, I think it's going to be because their offense is a good game. Steichen schemes some guys open. Their run game gets going with Jonathan Taylor and company. Maybe Richardson has some nice keepers. He runs the ball well. Um, he doesn't have accuracy issues. That's going to be how I think the Colts win the game because I think their defense will place a solid one. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Broncos for the reasons I kind of outlined. I'm going to say the Broncos win this game. I'll say, I definitely think this is a one-score game. The Colts win, I certainly think it's a one-score game. The Broncos win, I think it's a one-score game, and I could see them winning by maybe 10-14, something, maybe 17 at the max, maybe 20, but that's really pushing it. But I'm going to say the Broncos win this game. I'll say, hmm, uh, say, yeah, I definitely think it's a low-scoring defensive game. Hmm, I'll say Broncos win. Oh God, I'll say 20. God, I don't know what to do for a score prediction, people. Hmm. I'll say 20 to. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. Uh, God, I don't know what to do for a score prediction. I'll say 23-16. Oh God, do I want to do that for my final score prediction though? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I'll say. God. Okay, I'll say 20 to. Whatever. I'll say 2016 Broncos take this one in a close game. Bills Lions. Oh boy, this is gonna be a great game. I Regardless of which team wins, I think this game goes right down to the wire. I think this is a very close game the entire time. I would be surprised, honestly, if either of these teams win by more than one score. I am going to go with the underdog in this game, and I'm going to pick the Bills. I just think the Lions' injuries, even though it looks like they might be getting some guys back, I think the Lions' injuries are really going to catch up to them in this game. I mean, we saw against the Packers last week, their offense needs to basically score every drive for, well, at least that game. Their offense needs to score every drive pretty much because their defense in that second half, the injuries were very evidently showing, and the Packers offense just could not be stopped pretty much that whole second half. It may Again, that's not necessarily going to be the case in this game. But I think the Bills are going to be pissed off, especially their defense at how awful their defense played against the Rams last week. I think the team's going to be pissed off that they lost that game, and they are playing what I think and many people think is the best team in football right now, the Lions. That's actually like crazy to say. I could not have imagined saying that a couple years ago. Um, yeah, what was I just saying? Now I just lost my thought again. I'm all over the place here. Had a very long day today. My mind is fried. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Talking about the Lions, it was surprising saying that they're the best team in football. But yeah. So bounce back opportunity again, what I think and many people think is the best team in football. They do not want to lose 2 games in a row. They're very much in contention for the 1 seed still. If they lose this game, it's going to take a big hit for their chances at the 1 seed. But yeah, so I think the Bills offense is going to have a pretty good showing in this one. I think the Lions defense is going to have a rough showing, but I think it'll be able to get a couple stops. I don't think like the Bills are going to score a touchdown every drive. I think the Lions defense will be able to get a couple stops in this one at least. The Bills defense, I think. See, now, like last week, for example, Sean McVay completely outcoached Sean McDermott. I could see the case with Ben Johnson, who I is probably the best offensive play caller in football. Yeah, you can put him in there with Andy Reid and stuff, but certainly one of the best. I don't want to debate that topic now, but certainly one of the best play callers. I definitely can see him just putting together a really good game plan. The Lions offense goes off in this one. I don't think the Lions are going to score 45 points. I think the Bills defense was going to tighten up at least a little bit from last week. I think the Bills defense can have a solid game, but not a great game. I think it's going to get the ball moved on it for a couple drives. The Lions are going to put up a decent amount of points. So I think the Bills defense is going to get a couple stops in this one, a couple big stops maybe. The Lions offense, I just kind of ran through the scenario, but I think their offense is going to look good through portions of this game, move the ball well, but there's going to be a couple portions where the Bills defense steps up and makes some key stops. I just think the Bills, my guts tell me they bounce back. The Lions are definitely due for a loss. They've won 11 games in a row, so they're definitely due for a loss. So you get that factor too. Again, you don't want to base too much off that, but I think it definitely has at least some bearing on this game. But yeah, I mean, I'm not too confident with the Bills. I'm just going with what my gut tells me. I probably have like a 55 to 60% confidence in the Bills in this game. I just think the Lions injuries catch up with them in this one. I don't know. Because they nearly beat the Bears, they nearly beat the Packers. They nearly gonna beat another elite team. I mean, this could even be a Super Bowl preview. I don't see. I want to say I don't think it will be, but honestly, who knows? Who knows? If I had to predict the Super Bowl right now, oh God, I would probably say, oh my God, I don't even know. I would probably say, Jesus, I don't even know. I would probably, oh my God, I don't know. I don't know. I would probably say Chiefs, Eagles if I had to just guess right now, but if I had to think about it, I'd probably change it. But I'll just say that right now anyway. I don't know. I don't know. My head's all over the place. Um, what was I even talking about that I just went off topic? Yes, this could be a Super Bowl. I mean, it definitely could be. I don't think it will be, but who knows? I mean, the Lions, if they win this game, I think their offense, I actually feel fairly confident seeing their offense is going to put up somewhere in the 20s. So I think the Lions win this game. I think it's going to be because their defense plays better than I'm expecting it to. But I'm just going to say the Bills end up winning this game, bounce back at a big win against, again, what I think is the best team in football. And the media is probably going to overreact, say that the Lions are, you know, they lost this game. Can they win the big one? They're frauds. I'm sure that's what the media overreaction is going to be, maybe, as I just slammed my hand on my keyboard here. But yeah, whew, very much looking forward to this game. Definitely can go either way, but I'm going to say the Bills bounce back, get a close win. I'll say Bills win, say 20. I'll say 27 to, I was going to say 24-20, but I'll say 27 to, say 27-24. Bills win a close one. Steelers, Eagles, here's another really good game. So we get two, I guess two potential Super Bowl. I don't think the Steelers are going to make the Super Bowl, but who knows? Two potential Super Bowl previews in the 425 slot. I am going to go with the Eagles in this game. This was in Pittsburgh. I might be picking the Steelers, but what really, I mean, I was going to pick the Eagles anyway, even if George Pickens played, but George Pickens being out really makes me more confident in the or not the Steelers, the Eagles rather. Um, to me, I think both these I mean, well, not just to me, it's like a fact that both these defenses have been balling out the whole year. I think both defenses are going to have good performances in this one. So then that, I guess, if you look at it this way, you can say the defense is going to cancel each other out. So which offense do you trust more? I'm going to say the Eagles. The Steelers' offense, even though I think it's definitely been like the most complete their offense has been in a couple of seasons. Even it definitely has parts or points throughout this year where it stalls out, has to sell for a bunch of field goals. Boswell, I think, it's like 40 something percent of the team points, something insane like that. So the Eagles, even though their offense, obviously the controversy, AJ Brown and Hurts, all that, all whatever the hell's going on there, I honestly think they'll be fine. I don't have any concern with that. Not that I'm an Eagles fan. I don't like the Eagles at all. I mainly root for them to lose, as a matter of fact. But especially because the team I have AJ Brown on is out in the playoffs, even though it's like a God squad. I don't know how I didn't make the playoffs, but that's okay. Um, anyway, I always get so off topic. I hate myself. Yeah, I just trust the Eagles offense more than the Steelers. That's the point I'm making, especially at home. With AJ Brown, this is where I was going with it. The AJ Brown controversy, I think they're going to try to get AJ Brown the ball a bit more. Look for him to maybe have a big game in this one. I honestly could see if the Steelers win, I definitely think it is within one score. If they win, I think it's going to be because their offense just moves the ball and gets touchdowns instead of field goals. And again, that maybe seem like a obvious statement, but that's been the Steelers' offensive issue all year. If you want to knock their offense for anything, that they've had to settle for too much field goals and stall out too much. Because their defense, I think, will see. I want to say their defense is a good game, the Steelers, but I also could see the Eagles' offense just having a really good game. I could even see the Eagles torching them. So yeah, if the Steelers win, I definitely think it's within one score, but I could see Eagles honestly winning by multiple scores. Honestly, I might even predict that. I might have just talked myself into it. Did I just talk myself into it? Hmm. I'll be conservative and say it's a one score game. But yeah. So I think that maybe I just went to these scenarios already. But I think the Steelers offense has kind of a rough game, but has a couple drives where it moves the ball. Probably settles for a lot of field goals in this one. Steelers defense, I could see it getting torched. I'm going to say it has a solid performance in this one. Eagles offense, I think, will have a solid performance though too. I think they're. I'm going to predict that. Eh, okay, I was going to say I think their offense starts off hot, but I actually think this will be at least to start. I think this will be okay, and let me get through this first. I'm gonna say the Eagles offense plays a solid game, puts up a decent amount of points, but it has points throughout, specifically early on where it stalls out. I think the Eagles defense is a really solid performance. Going to be able, it might get the ball moved on in a couple drives, but I think it's going to hold the Steelers defense to a lot of field goals. The way this game plays out, I think, is that it's a low scoring game in the first half, specifically after the first quarter. The Eagles tend to start off slow offensively. So I think the Steelers defense is going to have a good performance to start the game. But I think as the game progresses, that the Eagles offense is really going to find its footing and kind of maybe not necessarily go off, but just look very efficient from that point on. I think the Eagles. I honestly, now that I keep talking about this game, I actually feel fairly confident about the Eagles, especially with no pick into the Steelers. I'm going to say the Eagles win. I honestly kind of want to say by like 10, maybe even. I could honestly see the Eagles win like 17 to 20, maybe 20 pushing it a bit, maybe 17. Uh, maybe that's insane, but I'm going to say the Eagles win a fairly. Yeah, I'll say the Eagles win a close game. I'll say Philly wins this game in the final score of. I'll say 20. I'll say 24 to 17. Kind of want to say 24-20. Um, uh, I'll say 24-17. Eagles take this game, but would not at all be surprised if the Steelers win this one. Oh boy, my team, the Cardinals. All right, let me get a drink before I diagnose this game. God damn, that is a good drink. Anyway, oh boy, only 4% of people would pick my team. So I'm picking the Cardinals. I would not at all be surprised if my team wins this game. I would not at all be surprised if my team wins this game. And maybe that's me being a little biased, being a diehard Pats fan. But honestly, my gut is telling me, as part of my gut is telling me we win this game. Boy, I just had trouble getting that out of my mouth. But that's what a part of my gut is telling me that. I just can't pick us to win. I mean, the Cardinals have not looked good since they were red hot before the bye week, but ever since their bye week, they have not looked good. They're 0-3 since the bye week, and I was very disappointed with them how they played against the Seahawks last week. I actually felt fairly confident in them. They put up a complete shitter against the Seahawks last week. So yeah, that was a disappointing performance in the Cardinals. Um, but yeah, they're at home. I mean, as much as it pains you to say, they're the better team, even though they've been playing bad. I mean, yeah, they've been the better team this year. Offensively, I think the Cardinals have a good game in this one. I think they'll be able to move the ball, put up a decent amount of points. But I think at the same time, our defense, even though I don't think it's going to have a great game in this one, I think it'll have a couple drives where it holds the Cardinals to field goals, forces a couple punts. Cardinals defense, I think will have a mixed game. I think they'll have a couple drives where it looks good, forces some punts, get some sacks, get some pressure on May. Well, it's not very hard to do with our disaster of an offensive line, but anyway. So our offense, I think, will have a mixed performance. I think it'll have a couple drives where you look good. I do have a fear that we're going to get nothing going in the run game. I think that we're gonna have a rough time running the ball in this one. It's kind of what my gut's telling me. May's gonna have to bail us out if our offense wants to have a good game, I fear. Which has been kind of the case since May's taken over, honestly. Um, but yeah, I just think I just can't pick us to win as much as I want to. If we do win, I think it's going to be because our defense just plays a solid performance in this one, and our offense just has a complete performance, well balanced performance, moves the ball well, running and passing. Maybe we get an interception that's key. If we win, I definitely think it's a close game that goes on the wire. I don't really see us winning by more than one score. The Cardinals, I could see them winning by more than one score, but I think it's going to be a close game that goes down to the wire, probably the last play of the game, if I had to guess. Yeah, I just think, I guess, just to simplify it, I think both offenses and both defenses, I think, kind of have up and downs, solid but not great games in this one. I think it's a solid, is a solid, decent way to put it, I guess. But yeah, I'm just going to pick the Cardinals at home. They get a much needed win to keep their kind of faint postseason hopes alive. I'll say they take this one. I'll say 24 to. Is that a bit too high scoring? Uh, hmm. Okay, I'll say 20. Whatever. I'll say 24-20. Cardinals take a close one. But Jesus, how many 4 o'clock games do we have? 2, 3, 5, 4:25 games. I don't think. Uh, Usually they space them out like 4:05, but that's weird. Anyway, Bucks Chargers. This should be an interesting game. I'm gonna pick the Chargers in this one. Chargers, I think, are probably going to be pissed off at how they lost to the Chiefs last week. They probably feel they should have had that game. They didn't. Uh, it was kind of a lucky bounce with the field goal kick, but it was on the inside anyway. But that was probably one of the lesser lucky plays the Chiefs got. Still, maybe a bit of luck. Of course, the Chiefs get the bailout, though. But yeah, the Bucks have been playing good since the bye week, but let's look at who they played at the same time. They played the Giants, the um who the hell did they play after that? They played the Giants, then okay, hang on. What am I? Oh, the yeah, Panthers. They played the Giants and the Panthers have been playing better ball. And see, that was a weird game, them and the Panthers. So you make an argument that both teams deserved to win and maybe got lucky that you can make an argument that both teams, either team won, they got a bit lucky. Maybe the Bucks got lucky, but still they won against the Panthers team playing solid ball, but not the greatest Panthers team, obviously. And then last week, the Raiders, which they kind of struggled to do portions of the game to put the game away, but they ended up doing so. But they've won three straight. They had the division lead, but the Chargers are, I guess, another breed, but compared to the competition they've been playing this past 3 weeks. But I don't think the Chargers, I think they're one of the better teams in the league, but I don't think they're one of the elite teams in the league at the same time. Um, but yeah, the Chargers, again, I talked about through some of my videos, matchups like these where for Jim Harbaugh, if it seems like matchups like these where the teams are relatively even on a skill level, it feels like it's going to be a close game throughout, kind of a, gritty, close game. Games like those, it seems like Jim Harbaugh seems to win. I trust him to win these type of games. Um, yeah, I just think I don't know. My gut's telling me the Chargers bounce back after a win. The Bucks, of course, could win this game. I think the Bucks offense is honestly, I think it'll have a decent game, but I think lesser of kind of how it has been playing. I think they'll be able to move the ball a couple drives. I think for the most part, the Chargers defense is going to have a solid performance in this one. So I think the Bucks offense is able to put up a decent amount of points, though. The Bucks defense, I could see the Bucks defense having a good performance. So I think the Bucks defense will have a not so great performance. I think the Chargers offense is going to be able to have a good performance, move the ball for a good portion of the game. I do think the Bucks could cause pressure for Herbert, sack him a lot, force a lot of quick rush throws. So I think that could, if the Bucks win, I think that'll be a key. Is they're gonna have to get pressure on Herbert. Their defense is really gonna have to limit their offense, the Chargers offense, and the Bucks offense is gonna have to kind of break through the wall of the Chargers. Like honestly, like sort of elite defense this year. They're the top scoring defense in the league. At least they were going into last week. I think they still are after last week. Um, they only allowed 19 against the Chiefs, so or was it 19? It was no 18, right? Okay, yeah, hang on. Now this is friggin' driving me insane. Let me look this up. Let's see here. Yep, 17-19. So they allowed only 19 to the Chiefs last week. So I still think they have the top scoring defense, but not 100% sure on that. The Chargers, I mean. Um, Jesus friggin' my drink just went down the wrong pipe. That didn't feel too great. Um, keep talking about how great this drink is tasting. It's gonna friggin' kill me. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel pretty, maybe not pretty confident. I feel fairly confident the Chargers win this game. I do think this is a close game, regardless of which either team wins. I honestly don't see either team winning by more than one score. But yeah, I'm gonna say the Chargers. I just trust them more in a game like this compared to the Bucks. I think they're gonna win a close game, goes right down to the wire, probably the last play. I'll say the Chargers take this game and win it. I'll hmm, say Chargers win. I'll say 24. Kind of want to say 24-17. Can see 2017. I'll say 24-20, even though I had a couple scores. I don't know. This feels like a game roughly around 17-20, 17-24, 20-24, something like that. I'll say Chargers take this one 24-20, though. Definitely could go either way. Looking forward to that one. Packers Seahawks. This is an interesting game. Sunday Night Football in this one. Classic Packers Seahawks primetime game. I am surprised 77% of people in the league are on the in my league at least are on the Packers. I figured the percentage of picks would be a bit closer, but I'm going with the Packers in this game. Packers are favored in this game. Let me see the line on this game. Let's see here. Yeah, Packers favored by 2. Okay, so it's nothing egregious. But yeah, the Seahawks have been balling out the past couple weeks, especially their defense. It seems like their offense has been, at least last week, it really cleaned up what their offense. I talked about it in my videos, but their offense has been trying to like keep the games much closer and like just blow opportunities. I don't know. I don't know. They just blew a bunch of opportunities. It felt like, but they really cleaned it up. Gino played great last week. But I don't know. My gut in this one is telling me that the Packers. I just am feeling the Packers in this game. If it was in Green Bay, I'd probably feel a bit more confident, but I just feel fairly confident with the Packers in this game. I think the Packers defense is a solid performance, and I also think the Packers offense. Okay, maybe not a solid performance, but I think a fairly efficient, decent performance where I think it has a couple drives where it stalls out punts, maybe a 3-and-out or 2 in there. But I also think it has a couple drives where it moves the ball, gets a couple touchdowns, a decent mix of field goals in there. Seahawks defense, I think, that scenario I just laid out with the Packers offense, I think the Seahawks defense plays a solid game, but not a great game. Seahawks offense, I think it'll, again, a solid game, but not a great game. I think there's a couple drives where it looks good, a couple drives, puts up a decent amount of points, and a couple drives where it stalls out. I think this is definitely a close game. I honestly, regardless of which team wins, I really don't see either team winning by more than one score. I think this goes right down to the wire. Last play, definitely tough to pick against the Seahawks, who have been red hot. They're undefeated since their bye week. They've won, 3 in a row, I think, since their bye. And their defense has been specifically rather, their defense has been balling out, just playing lights out for the most part. Definitely could see their defense playing, like it has the past couple weeks, really limiting the Packers offense. But I think the Packers offense gets the job done. So yeah, I don't know. My gut's just telling me Packers. I definitely could see the Seahawks winning though. If they do, I think it's going to be because their defense just plays how it has the past couple weeks, and the Seahawks offense puts them in maybe not a performance similar to last week in terms of points, but with just more so the fact that they clean things up and just don't blow gift wrap opportunities like they had through portions of this year. So yeah, but I just feel fairly confident with the Packers. What do I want to say for score prediction? I'll say the Packers win this game. I'll say, I'll say 20. Oh God. I'll say I hate score predictions. I'll say 20. Do you know what? I'll do it again. I'm gonna say 24-20 for like the fourth time this video. I'll say the Packers win 24-20. That definitely is gonna be an interesting Sunday night game though. I hate when they do 2 Monday night games. So we got Bears and Vikings for the first Monday night game. Definitely going the Vikings in this game. See, even though it doesn't make much logical sense, part of my gut just randomly wants to pick the Bears, is feeling the Bears a little bit, but I just cannot pick the Bears. I mean, the Vikings have been the far better team, obviously, this year. These teams played just a couple weeks ago, and even though the game went to overtime, it felt like the Vikings were in control pretty much that whole game and were outplaying the Bears. The Bears just kind of went on an insane run at the end, got that touchdown, 2 points, then they got the onside, got the field goal. Forced overtime. But it felt like the Vikings were fairly in control most of the game. Felt like they were outplaying them. The Bears obviously coming off a complete disaster and nightmare of a performance against the 49ers. We just saw the 49ers put up an at least offensively, put up absolute shitter against the Rams. So yeah, that's not a great look for the Bears if you get blown out by a team that really struggles. They only put up 6 points a couple days later. And again, the Rams I think they're just going to get better and better as the year finishes out. So maybe the Niners got the Rams at a bad time, but not to talk about that game too much, but hopefully you guys know what I'm saying. But yeah, Vikings coming off a solid win against the Falcons where it was tied in the fourth quarter at the start of it, and then the Vikings scored 21 unanswered. I just don't want to overthink this game too much. I mean, the Vikings are just the better team. I think the Vikings offense is a good performance in this game. I think they put up a good amount of points. I think their defense is a good performance, gets a lot of pressure on Caleb Williams, causes issues there, probably gets a good amount of sacks. Bears offense, I think, will have a rough game in this one, but probably have a couple drives where it looks good, puts up, fair amount of points where it's like, okay, not a complete disaster of a game, but not good either. Probably like 14-17. Bears defense, I think, I kind of aligned it with the Vikings offense, but I think the Bears defense is a rough showing in this one. But again, these teams did play a couple weeks ago, division game. I don't know. If the Bears win, it's just going to have to be a kind of a random upset. Division game, second time around. Vikings are due for a loss, I guess. Maybe that plays a bit of a factor. Bears are certainly overdue for a win, especially in some of the close losses they've had. Maybe this is the week that they get that spark, not last week after the Eberflus firing. Maybe it's this week, prime time, a chance to hurt your division rivals' playoff standing. Maybe they just get a spark. Their offense plays well. Their defense plays well. I just don't see it. I just feel fairly confident with the Vikings in this game. But then again, the Vikings primetime Monday Night Football, Sam Darnold led, even though they've been very good this year, it's a little, I don't know, part of my gut just thinks this game is going to be close and the Bears might steal it. I don't know. The Bears did win in Minnesota on Monday night last year when pretty much everyone was picking the Vikings. But again, completely different scenario. I'm just going to pick the Vikings this game. I'll say they win. I'll say, I'll say 20. Honestly, I kind of feel fairly confident saying 14-17, somewhere in that range for the Bears, maybe 20 at the most. I'll say 14 for the Bears. I'm kind of stuck between 24 and 27 for the Vikings. I'll say Vikings win this game 24-14. Why not? I'll say, God, do I want to say 27-14 or 24-14? Not that it matters too much. I had the Vikings winning regardless, but I'll say Vikings win this game 24-14. I kind of want to say 27. Do I want to say 27? Oh, what the hell? I'll say 24-14. I also think Justin Jefferson's going to have a big game in this one. The Bears really took him away. I think he only had 2 catches when they played a couple weeks ago. But I think the Bears defense, especially after Eberflus is gone, I think it's probably going to be worse this season. We certainly saw that last week. Again, just one game, not a great sample size. But the problem is the Bears are looking at probably Addison just went off last week. So they're probably like, all right, well, we might not want to single cover him because he's really finding his groove. And so that's going to give. And also, I think Hawkinson had a good game when they played a couple weeks ago, if I remember right. So they're going to want to adjust to that while also adjusting to the game Addison had last week. And I think that's going to present more opportunities for Jefferson, who's also been getting more involved over his kind of, that couple game stretch where he was really getting limited. So yeah, I think Jefferson, be on the lookout for him to have a big game in that one. Falcons Raiders, the second Monday night game. Why would they put these 2 games for? I guess it's before the season they schedule it, but I mean the 2 Monday night games and it's these 2 games. What are we doing, NFL? But anyway, I'm gonna go with the Falcons in this game. This is exactly what the Falcons need. Ever since they were 6-3, they're on a 4-game losing streak. Kirk Cousins has been playing not great football. I think 0 touchdowns, 8 picks. This is exactly what the Falcons need to play a dog shit team, especially prime time. Just, this is a perfect get right game for the Falcons, where simply all they have to do, well, assuming the Bucks lose to the Chargers, which it definitely, it's not a shoe-in that that happens, but I feel fairly confident the Chargers. But we'll know going into the Monday night, since it's the Bucks Chargers is Sunday afternoon. Oops. That if the Bucks win or lose that game. But if the Bucks lose, all the Falcons have to do is just win this game, and they'll be in the division lead, even though they're on a 4-game losing streak going into it. 'Cause even though they'll both be 7-7, the Falcons and the Falcons will have the tiebreaker over the Bucks because they swept them. So, I mean, the Falcons absolutely need to win this game. If they do not win this game against the 2-11 Raiders, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure is going to be led by Desmond Ridder, assuming it looks like Aiden O'Connell is going to be out for the year, but it said he has a chance to play. I think it's going to be Desmond Ridder, though. Let me double check. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, Desmond Ridder gets the start. So maybe it's a Desmond Ridder revenge game. Who knows? Um, but yeah, I mean, even if it was Aiden O'Connell, I'd be picking the Falcons anyway. But again, this is just exactly what the Falcons need. A get right game against a horrible. I don't think the Raiders are the worst team. I think the Giants are probably better than that, or not better than them, worse than them. Sorry, Dylan, if you're watching this video. I swear it's not just because I hate the Giants. The Patriots fan. But yeah, I mean, if if they lose this game, they have some serious problems in Atlanta, more than they already have during this losing streak. I think the Falcons' offense has a good performance in this one. Even last week against the Vikings, it moved the ball pretty well, and it probably should have put up more than 21 points. It felt like, especially one of Cousins' picks came. He walked it up for Pitts, and it was just out of his reach, and got picked off a one-handed interception by oh God, who the hell was it? Wasn't Cameron Bynum? Oh, this is gonna drive me insane. Okay, yep, hang on. Now I gotta look this up. Who picked that pass off? It's gonna drive me insane. Um, Byron Murphy. That's who it was. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Definitely knew that. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Um, he used to be a stud for me in Madden, by the way, with my one of my Cardinals franchises back in the day. But anyway, my point is Falcons felt like they should have put up more points than they did last week. They moved the ball fairly well for most of that game. Darnell Mooney went off too. Cousins was passing the ball pretty good, and then the interceptions came. Um, which again, that one I just broke down with the one-handed pick. That was just a kind of a great play by the DB. Not a great ball by Cousins, but not one of the worst interceptions of all time, I guess, either. Of course, it was to Pitts too, who I have on one of my teams. Never drafting. I got Pitts this year, thinking took a fly on him. Desperately needed a tight end. He was the best on the board. Took a fly on him, thinking he would have a consistent year with Cousins. And he's had a couple good games, and he's had most games where he's done literally nothing. Of course, the interception was thrown targeting to him. I won in that league anyway, but oh my God, Pitts, God help me. Yeah, no, I don't think it's a mistake that team's in the losers bracket in my fantasy league anyway. Even though I did finish 7-7, that team was god awful. I somehow won 7 games. Anyway, not to get too off topic here, I think the Falcons' offense is a good game in this one. They moved the ball well. They put up a good amount of points. Falcons' defense, I actually feel fairly good that the Falcons' defense is a good performance. The Falcons' defense, its issue all year has been getting pressure on the quarterback, specifically with sacks, and they have. I don't know what they did during the bye week, but they corrected that issue, at least through the past 2 games. They've been getting a lot of pressure. They got 5 sacks. Their defense balled out against the Chargers for the most part. I think it sacked Herbert 5 times. I think he got 5 either 4 or 5 sacks against Darnold last week. Okay, yep. Now I gotta look this up. Now it's gonna drive me insane if they got 4 or 5 sacks. I want to say 4. I want to say 4. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, 4 sacks allowed for the Vikings. So they got 4 on. So they have 9 sacks combined in the past 2 games. I think they're gonna get a good amount of pressure. Probably get a couple sacks on Ridder. I think Ritter's gonna have a rough game. Probably have some completion issues. Probably throw a pass or two to his old team. He'll probably be more accurate connecting with the Falcons when they're his opponent than he was when he was their quarterback. Uh, that was mean. That was mean. I mean, I know. I feel okay. Yep. I feel bad saying that. Sorry, Desmond Ridder. Not a big Desmond Ridder guy. I mean, he had a couple of decent games for the Falcons, a couple of games where he looked good, but for the most part, it's like Jesus Christ watching him. Um. Anyway, Raiders. If the Raiders win this game, I think it's going to be because, which I really feel strongly, the Falcons are going to win this game. I think it's going to be because the Raiders defense is. I think the Raiders in general, the Raiders defense, I think, is going to have a rough game, but I think through portions of it, it's going to be able to keep the game close for, you know, a decent amount of time for this game. I think the Raiders defense will have a decent performance, be able to keep the game close through, throughout it for most of it. But I also think it's going to allow a decent amount of points. Raiders offense, I think it's going to have a rough showing. Again, if the Raiders win, on top of their defense just having a solid performance, I think their offense is going to have a randomly good performance where it moves the ball efficiently. I really do not see that happening though. But yeah, I just feel very confident with the Falcons in this game. Get exactly what they need. Get right game, prime time, perfect chance to hit the reset button. And if my prediction holds of the Bucs losing, again, they simply just have to win, and they'll be in the division lead and control their destiny as to, if they make the playoffs or not, and more specifically, if they win their division. So Falcons really could not have gotten a better. I also think the Falcons play the Giants. They might play them next week. Let me see here. Yeah, they play the Giants next week. So they literally could not have gotten a better draw schedule wise. I mean, I think the Giants are the worst team in the league, and I think the Raiders are probably number 2. And again, I'm a New England fan, so my team, unfortunately, is certainly in the mix of that conversation. I don't think we're as bad as the Raiders or the Giants. I think the Giants are definitely the worst team in the league. Again, sorry if you're watching this, Dylan, but the Raiders, I think, are number 2. So they literally could not have gotten a more beneficial draw than the Raiders and Giants in back-to-back weeks with a struggling Falcons team. Anyway, not to get too off topic here, I'm going to say the Falcons win this game. What did I say for my score prediction? I think I said, what the hell did I say for my score prediction? Let me see. Hang on. Sorry, guys. Oh, yeah, I'm an idiot. I have 43 at the bottom of the screen here. I had, okay, I had 27-16 as my final score prediction. And honestly, 16 might be a little generous, but I'm going to say, I don't know. I think the Raiders defense will be able to keep the game relatively. I think if I had to guess, I think this game might play out similar to how Falcons Panthers played out early in the year, where it's kind of close through most of the game, and the Falcons just pulled away late. The Falcons were in control for the game, and you could kind of feel that they were going to win it throughout it for the most part. But I think again, that game, the Panthers were kind of close, and then the Falcons kind of pulled away as the game progressed, more so in the second half. I think this game might play out similar to that game. I just feel very confident with the Falcons. Yeah, I'll say 27-16. Falcons win that one. Okay, got all the games here. Boy, that did not feel like 15. That felt like 30 games I was just talking about there. My God. Um, yeah, I think we had a pretty. I'm excited to for all these games this week, and I don't have to worry about getting up Monday to friggin' bust my ass for school. I just finished my master's degree, so can friggin' actually enjoy football Sunday without having to worry about school. Get a bunch of games, so I'll be especially enjoying football Sunday with no school in mind. Super excited for this game. A little intrigued for this game. As my keyboard falls here. Um, excited for this game. Dolphins, Texans, this game. Colts, Broncos. Definitely excited for Bills, Lions, Steelers, Eagles. Excited for my team. Think we could win. Bucks, Chargers. That'll be interesting. Sunday night could be interesting. Uh, and yeah, so pretty good slate of games this week. Excited to see how they play out. Good luck in fantasy playoffs if you guys made it. Even if you didn't, good luck with fantasy still. If you're in the losers bracket, I know uh, in my league, if I win the losers bracket, I get the $100 back that I paid for the buy-in fee, so that'll cancel out. I won't lose any money, but I won't win either. So whatever, it cancels out, better than nothing. So yeah, good luck in fantasy. Gotta place all my bets. Haven't done that yet. Good luck with betting all your picks. And yeah, just enjoy football. I will end the video here. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one and take it easy. Thanks, guys.